Welcome, 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 everyone. Thank you for watching Tech Thursday's Week 8 activity. Today, we're going to use Scratch to create a world. So let's imagine a world. So during this workshop, you'll learn how to use Scratch to create a scene where the only limitation is your imagination and your patience. So like always, please feel free to record this, to pause this recording at any time so you can experiment with Scratch. So a few housekeeping things first. If you haven't already, please navigate to scratch.mit.edu and sign into your account. If you do not have an account, I'd say please pause this video and create a free account. You will need a Scratch account to be able to do these practice coding with Scratch and make these projects. Secondly, failure is a good thing. Don't be afraid to fail. Coding or anything new to you, you may mess up. If you feel yourself getting frustrated, take a deep breath, maybe take a break, take a little walk, and come back when you're ready to engage again. So this is recording, not live. You can pause this or anytime you need to, or watch it as many times as you need to. You can learn, remember, you can learn much from your failures or mistakes. Actually, I tend to learn more from my mistakes than I do my successes. And then thirdly, have some fun. This is, hopefully this might be a new skill for you, which can be frustrating and challenging, but it should also be fun. I want something you enjoy, something you're getting into, and you create something that you love. So this presentation is going to take really has three parts to it. First is the thinking, instructing, and creating. Thinking, I'm going to start having you think of ideas of what you can create in the project. Instructing is when I'm actually going to go more step by step and show you what you could possibly create. And then creating, you actually is when you're going to actually do your creating. And you may also then want to share this with others in the Scratch community. Now, instructing and creating may kind of go hand in hand because I encourage you to pause this recording and create along with me if you like, whatever works best for you. So I want you to think, since we're imagining a world, so let's begin today by using our imaginations. I want everyone, say your name and it's something you'd like to see in the world. So I'll go first. So my name is Jennifer, and I imagine a world where everyone can teleport. I want you to try. Pause the video if you have to. If you have more than one person watching this, maybe go around the room and have you each think of at least one thing that you imagine a world in. In case you're drawing a blank, here's some examples, some ideas. Maybe imagine a world where everyone has a twin, where there's no pollution, where everyone wears green on Tuesdays, where a crowd would cheer every time you kicked a ball. You could be anything. Get the idea? Hopefully you have some ideas. If not, that's okay. I'm actually going to show you something I did create myself, as well as a video to kind of spark some of that. So let's first show you what I created. Now mine's a whole, mine's actually like a kind of a story. I have a little monster, like Frankenstein's monster there. He's talking. And then he's jumping up in the air. And he's somewhere new. And animals can talk to each other. Animals and monsters jumping up again and can get himself somewhere totally new, different environment. And fairy creatures in my world. We got words that are floating around, talking to them. Nope, and it's actually asking what my name is. So I'm going to type in my name, and it repeats my name. And he's going to stay. So that's an example of a possible world you could do. And I did a bunch of different things in that, and I'll show you kind of how to do some of those. Now I'm going to go to the tutorial. So anytime you want to watch the tutorial about Imagine a World, what you do is once you sign in, you'll go over to Ideas. And you can scroll down and see there's a bunch of different ones. This is the one we're doing this time. We're going to try the tutorial. What this is going to do, it's going to do two things for us. One, it's going to get to the video that I'm going to show you, but also it actually creates a project so we have it all in here already. So I'm just going to name it something so I don't forget what it is. And then let's go ahead and watch this video to get some ideas. Scratch to bring your ideas to life. Imagine if animals could talk, or people could fly, or things could grow and shrink. Bring your imagination to life with Scratch. What will you create? So see, that had a bunch of different ideas: growing, shrinking, flying, and you could do a world with that. And we'll go over some of the ways you can do that stuff. But if you watch the video, if you do the green arrow, it actually goes step by step. So this is showing you how to get things to talk, which I did on my creation. As I made Frankenstein's monster, I made the other characters talk in there. Show you how to do that. Have it start with the green flag. You can choose how to choose a backdrop, using a sprite. You can have them glide, move around the screen, and so on. A bunch of different options that you can do. So now that you've watched the video, let's see what the first step is, what we're going to do today. Now, what I'm going to be showing you today is just one example of stuff you can do. Especially with this Imagine a World, you can really do anything you want to do. So you don't have to have anything that looks anything like what I'm going to create today, or what I created, or what those examples were in the tutorial. Okay, so a few things to think about before you begin: setting and characters. So think the setting means, what does your world look like? Is it like our world, but with some different improvements or differences? What would those differences be? Think about characters. Who inhabits the world? Is it people or animals, fairy tale creatures, both, a mix? There are many ways to create the world. I'll show you a couple things you can do, but I want you to experiment on your own as well, since your world might maybe look very different from what I'm going to create. There's no right way to do this. So step one, we're going to start by choosing a backdrop. So let's go to my Scratch thing over here in the very bottom right corner. Choose a backdrop and search. Right now it has all, but you can narrow it down by searching or by clicking every area if you want. I am going to just choose a colorful city. I'm going to have mine in a city. So this is what I'm going to choose. But like I said, choose whatever you want to choose. You'll think about what kind of works for what you want to do. Step two, we're going to choose a sprite. Now you could choose multiple sprites, but I'd recommend starting with one to begin with. That's how you get the movement of what you want that one to do. So over here, not the very, very right, but close to it, is choose a sprite. You'll click on there. And once again, we have all as the default, but you can narrow it down. What people, animals, people, fantasy characters, dance, dances, so dance people, people dancing, and you can also search in here if you want food. I like the idea of actually having food in my world, and that'd be characters. I might use a glass of water instead. And it's a little big. I think I'm going to shrink this glass of water. So if you notice here, his size is at 100. That's kind of the general what it starts with. But I'm going to narrow it down 75. Let's try 70. Oh, 50. What's 50? I think that's a good size that fits with the world better. So that's what I prefer. But you could have whatever size you want, or you could keep it the size it was. And you can do that with any characters. So our next step now that we have a background character, now we're going to make the sprite do something. So this is where you're going to start looking at all the different possibilities. So this is what you might decide what you want the sprite to be. Now I always start with the events and start when the green flag is clicked. That way, whatever action, whenever you choose, it's not going to start till you click the green flag. That's just my preference. You don't have to do that, but that's a good start. But there are other events you could choose, like when a certain key is pressed, if you want it more interactive with, with someone watching it. When the sprite is clicked, I did see in that video where it had the elephant, it looked like shrunk, it looked like it was when it was clicked. That'd be a way to do that. When the backdrop switches. So if we chose like my video that I had my tutorial, and I chose, if you notice, I had the backdrop change a few times. That'd be something you'd use at that point. So let's see, there's different ones you can choose when there's a message, whatever works best for what worlds you're creating. I'm just going to start with the green flag click because it's the first one I'm doing. And then I want to draw attention to what some of these other codes are we have here. So we have motion. That's the blue one here at the top. This is if you want your sprite, your character, to move. In this case, I might have it glide. You can do it to a random position. You can have it go with the mouse or pointer if you want, and you could test it by actually clicking on the code and seeing how it's gliding, like such, if you like that or not. I actually think what I'm going to have it do I'm going to have it start here. So I'm going to, every time I click the green flag, I want it to start at this position. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm putting that in. It's X is negative 97, which is what it has here, and Y is negative 72. That's what it has here. I like that spot, but I could change those if I wanted to. Then what I'm going to have it do, and let's stay on motion right now. We'll add that later. I actually want to have it move. I want it to move along the X. I want it to move horizontal 10 steps. So I just wanted to have it go forward, which right now it's not moving. It's probably because I'm going to need that control in here, and we'll get to that. Now let's go ahead and put it now. So you want to wait a second and then move. And I might have it more than 10 steps here. Let's try 25 so you can see a little bit more. There, see that moves like that. And then I could do the same thing if I want it to maybe repeat that 10 times. That looks like it's moving down the road. So anyway, so that's movement, and there's different ones. You can have it move 10 steps, you can have it turn, you can have it go to a random position. You know, just look at all the different ones you do. If you can have it on the edge, if you want it to bounce, there's a lot of different ones you can do. So next is looks. Is the purple one. This is could be really, it could be mainly, well, it could anything to do with looks. So that includes when you want to talk or think. You can have it say something or talk. If you want to switch the costume, now that has to do, if you notice, not all sprites have different costumes, but if you notice my water one, when I was choosing it, it actually did have it was moving, it's like full and empty. So you could actually choose, see here's empty glass, you know, full glass. Those would be different costumes. This is B, and that's glass water A, glass water dash B. The different costumes. So that may be something I'd want to do. So I might have it say something. And I might have it switch its costume to B. So one thing I'd have to do is if I want it to start with A, I may want to add up here A, because otherwise it will go down to B, the empty one, and it won't go back. So let's try it again and see. You'll see there it moves by 25 each time. We should move 10 times. And once it gets past that repeating, it's going to say something, time to head home, and it's going to change to 0 water. See there. So that's a thing you can possibly do. And you see you can also change the backdrop if you wanted at that point, which if I want to have it head home, that might be what I want to do. You can change the size at that point if you want it to shrink or grow. You could change the color a little bit. See, there's a lot of different ones. You can have it show and hide. Show and hide would have to do with if you have multiple characters, you want them to appear or disappear at certain times in your world. Like if you change backdrops and you don't want both characters to be in the new backdrop, you could hide them when they move to the new backdrop. But you want to show them when you're in whatever backdrop you want to see. So stuff like that you can use. Okay, so let's look at the next one. Is sound. So this is you can make it play a sound. Now there's going to be an automatic sound that kind of goes with whatever character you have. Since this is a water glass, it says water drop is a sound. You can also record your own sounds if you have a microphone, want to do that. So you can have sound start, you can have them stop. You can change their pitch. You can can place the volume if you want. I'm really going to add any sounds in this, but you can do that. Events, we kind of did go over that. This is what you do to start things. With control, you see you can have it wait some seconds, repeat, repeat forever. Have these parts if, and we'll show you can put in those, then you'll do something. If, then, else. So these are things like, think of them like the ands and ors, and they will help with the whatever motion or sound or looks. They help regulate that. sensing. Now, these are some of the things that could go into these controls. You see the shape, sensing here. So like this could go into one of those. If touching the mouse pointer, touching the edge, you want it to do something. If it's touching a color, you know, if you want, you could have it ask. And that's what actually I did for mine, is I actually had it ask um, the person watching it what their name was, and then it actually we had to wait for an answer. So that'd be something you could put here. What's your name? So we start over and kind of see what adding that does. See, and then that's what's your name, and then it actually has it here in wait, so you have to actually type in something. Before it moves on. And then you could actually have it respond answering with the answer. You could have it say the answer. So like going back to looks, I could then have it say something and you put an answer. So it will say whatever the person typed in, example. So this is nice. And then we have operators. I haven't really gotten to operators. That'd be a little bit more advanced, but you could maybe mess with those as well once you kind of get a hang of the other ones too. But a lot of these you could input certain things into them, like these, anything that's round like that would probably fit in those operators as well. So I'm not going to do anything. Variables, we've actually used this when we did this. If you did any of the games that I've done, like the Pong game, I think I did last week, you can actually make a variable be the score, and that can change by 1 or set by 0. That's really what main thing we did is variables for. And you can actually make blocks as well if you want to get really elaborate. I would say start with something more simple. Get used to some of these first 5, these first ones of sensing first. Once you get really comfortable with those, you can do whatever you want. Then I would look into operators, variables, like I said, score, but then look into some other stuff that you want to do. And so I mentioned we could add other sprites or change screens if you want. Let's see what the next step is now that we have some motion, some stuff going. Let's see what the next thing we want to do is. Test step 4 is just actually to test. We've been actually testing along as we go, which I think works out best for me. Put a step in, test, make sure it works how you want to, and another step, make sure it still works. That way, you know what part of the code is having the issue. It helps with your debugging. And so I'd say, test as you go. When you add a block or two, test it, see if it's working how you want it to work. If it's not, think about why is it not working, take out a block, add a different block, and try it again. Step 5, it kind of goes hand in hand with testing, is debugging. So anything that does not work, that's when actually you're gonna, so that's when you're actually gonna remove the block, take it out, maybe separate it from the other blocks and try it just by itself and see what the issue is. You may have to delete some, you may have to add some to get it to work how you want to. So that's a quick tutorial of some stuff you can do. So really imagine your world is really anything that you want to do. I just want you to practice with, creating backdrops, maybe having them switch from one to another if you want, having different characters talk to each other, interact, do something to interact with the actual person watching it, the viewer, having them out. If you click on it, it does something else, get creative, do whatever you think is necessary or fun. So debugging steps, because you're going to do, going to have some debugging issues. If you're really stuck, talk to someone, see what they suggest. Try out small bits of code at a time so you can observe what is happening each step. Look closely at the blocks used in that video. Saw the video I'm using, this video that I'm doing. Depending on where you're watching this, I may have some coding cards that give you some advice. You can see what they used and see why you think those are working, or maybe what you're trying to do with it. And then just remember, bugs happen, and knowing how to work through them is an important skill to develop. And then just some thoughts of what did you like best about the project you made? What was the hardest part? What would you change if you did it again? I just want to thank everybody for joining us this time. I hope you watch. We will have one more in the future. This was the Imagine a World tutorial, not that, but that's actually where you can go to find the tutorial. scratch.mit.edu to set up your account or have your free account and get started. Thank you, everybody.